Mr. Wenstrup is recognized.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, Ambassador, for being here. We're talking about intellectual property quite a bit here, and I have concerns when we waive intellectual property rights. You know, we have inventors, creators that develop and manufacture in the United States, and there are situations, and you know, talking about the vaccines as a concern of just giving that intellectual property away. That's a disincentive for people in the United States to want to produce and create if they're concerned that their own government in the United States is going to take their intellectual property rights away from them. And I believe that there's ways to produce our products in another land under our control, which is very, very important for a lot of reasons, especially when it comes to health. Because we know that right now we are in a huge deficit dependent upon China for our medical prescriptions, generic drugs. They control it. They control the world. It's a problem. It leaves us extremely vulnerable. It's a national health security. It's a national health security issue and a national security issue. If we turn over the intellectual property of a pharmaceutical or vaccine to another country that doesn't produce it with the same quality, as we've seen from China, 250 people died from heparin in the United States about 15 years ago. We turn that over to another company to then make it. They taint that product, and then we have a problem. And so I think that, you know, as we do look, and by the way, the FDA isn't over there trying to make sure everything is in there. They may have an office there, but they're not in there every day. You know, we now have, in the United States, we're testing the drugs we get from other countries for being tainted or inefficient, not the right dose. All of these things are happening. So all I just want to say is if we, in any way, shape, or form, are giving away our intellectual property, you know, we're worried about others stealing our intellectual property, but if we're stealing our own intellectual property, it leaves us very vulnerable. I see you raise your eyebrows. Maybe you're not engaged with the situation on the medical side, but that's a shame because maybe you need to get into and get a classified brief on what's going on. Thank you. I yield back.
Sorry, I was making faces a little bit. I think it's because I was trying to track how you're describing giving away intellectual property, and that doesn't bear any resemblance to what we agreed to at the WTO last year. So I'm happy to clarify some of that. In terms of your presentation, and especially around our reliance on others for API, let me affirm that I completely agree with you that that is a critical supply chain that we need to work to fix. And the answer isn't just about IP. It does also connect to this this tariff conversation as well. The way that a lot of our supply chains and the decisions that our producers have prioritized, which is to chase cost efficiency at the expense of resilience, at the expense of having more options in terms of supply, is part of the change that we need to bring to our trade policies. So on all of the things that we agree on, I hope that we'll be able to find a way to work together. I want to say I am engaged on the medical issues. They are really, really important, and I look forward to continuing the conversation and working with you on this.